Hi guys, happy Wednesday. No. Happy Wednesday. Oh. Hi guys, happy Wednesday. It is a pretty sad day actually because as we know, man, this is the last day of PAX. We are finishing up the book today. I am so sad, but I've got our new one. I'll give you hints at the end. I will say this. I thank you to Susanna's mom for pointing out that y'all have not been able to comment. I'm sorry, I had no idea, but it's because when I upload them from my computer, I have to select that this is made for kids. And so because of that, they turn commenting off. It's a bummer. So if you want to provide feedback about the book, you could do it on Teams. I'll see it on Teams. But it's not going to let commenting be turned back on because of the way I upload them. So, but here we go. Last day of PAX, chapter 33. Again, Pax thought he heard his boy's voice. He pricked his ears back to the camp. Just then, the wind shifted. Pax smelled the War Six sweat, their cordite, their motor fuel, their charred fields, and his two humans. He ran back to the ridge. He saw his boy lift something from the ground. A stick, but not a stick. Something furred and broken. The grief-yearning scent rolled up the hill, fresh and keen from his boy, but also old and strained from his boy's father. So this scent was not Peter's alone. It was the scent of humans. His boy held the broken thing above his head and cried something angry. And then, Pax! And Pax barked. Last chapter, chapter 34. Peter held what was left of the fox thigh above his head and called his name again, Pax! And from above the mill, an answering bark. Hope rose in his throat. But no, he must have just wished for that bark. He scanned the ridgeline anyway. A flash of red. A white-tipped brush. A fox appeared in an open spot and rose on his back legs. On two back legs? And looked straight at him. Peter pressed the fox leg into his father's hand. Bury this. Then he grabbed his other crutch and turned for the hill. Wait, Peter! You have to understand, it's my duty. Peter pointed to the fox on the ridge. He thumped his chest so hard it hurt. That's mine. His father shouted to him about wires. He shouted at him to stop. Peter saw the wires. He pulled over them, but he did not stop because there was only his fox waiting on the spine of the hill and the distance between them. Over and over, he planted his crutches and swung through, closing that distance. When he was almost there, his shirt dried from the wind and then soaked again in sweat. He stopped and called. Pax tossed his head and then bounded away towards the trees. On four legs. Peter was sure of it. Pax was unharmed. Peter followed, but again, just as he neared him, Pax broke away, galloping into the trees. Peter followed again. He didn't begrudge Pax this testing game. He had broken his pet's trust. Why wouldn't he be skittish? Why wouldn't he need to assure himself of Peter's loyalty now? For as long as Pax wanted, Peter would obey. It was fair punishment. Through the trees, 100 long yards and 100 more, Peter followed. And then they broke into a clearing, and the fox stood and waited. Peter reached him. He offered his hand. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. Pax locked Peter's gaze and then took his wrist in his jaws. Peter's pulse jumped against the bracelet of teeth, pressed just tight enough to claim him, just tight enough to call to Peter's own wildness. Two, but not two. Pax released Peter's wrist and tore across the clearing toward a crooked tree. Circling the tree was a pair of coyotes. Pax lunged at the taller one. No, Pax, come back! The tree was so far away, 50 yards at least. Peter dug his crutches into the turf and piked hard. When he was a dozen yards away, he saw the coyote's treed quarry. Another fox, bright-furred with a sharp and delicate face, a vixen. She was bleeding from a gash on her haunch, and instead of a thick brush, she thrashed the blackened whip of her tail. The vixen swiped at one of the coyotes from above, taunting him, and Pax snapped at the other's flank. Peter saw that the two foxes were a team, and that they were no match for the coyotes. Peter barreled for the tree, shouting, but the coyotes ignored him. The taller of the two spun around and sank its teeth into Pax's necks. The taller of the two spun around and sank his teeth into Pax's neck. Pax shrieked. and Peter roared in fury. He braced himself on one crutch and leaned back and side-armed the other, heavy with its white ash bat, as hard as he could, aiming in between the two coyotes. Both of them wheeled around at the outrage. While the tree rang with the bat's blow, the tall, dark one sprinted away and disappeared into the brush. The other one bolted a dozen yards and then stopped and turned back. He eyed Peter and bared his fangs. Peter bared his teeth back. Pax growled at his side, hackles raised, ready to spring. Peter swept his second crutch over his head and roared again, and Pax snarled and the pale coyote reared back in surprise. He turned and crashed out of the clearing. Peter clutched the tree. He slid to the ground, shaking. Instantly, Pax was on him, wriggling under his neck, licking his face, sniffing his broken foot, nuzzling his face again. Peter wrapped his arms around his fox and pressed his face to the piney-smelling fur. "You're okay. You're okay. You're okay." The vixen leaped over them to the ground and disappeared into the juniper scrub, ringing the clearing. Pax sat up and barked to her from Peter's lap. After a moment, Peter saw a black muzzle point out from the brush. Out came a skinny fox, about the size Pax had been at 8 months, blinking in the sunlight. He stumbled into the clearing on 3 legs. The vixen reemerged. She paced and yipped at the runty little fox, shooting wary looks at Peter. Pax squirmed out of Peter's arms and barked again. The 3-legged fox took a few steps closer. Its limp was so awkward, Peter realized he must have lost a leg only recently, and then he made the connection. He offered his hand and called softly. Hesitantly, his gaze darted between Peter and Pax. The little fox hobbled over. He tucked his head under Pax's chin. Peter extended a finger. The injured fox allowed him to brush his neck for an instant, then hurried back to the safety of the vixen's side. Together, the 2 foxes looked expectantly at Pax, and then they melted into the underbrush. And Peter understood. His fox belonged to them, and they belonged to Pax, inseparable. All this way he'd come, all this way. Peter got to his knees. He placed his hand on Pax's back and felt the muscles jump. Peter looked around. The woods looked dangerous now, full of coyotes and bears, and soon, humans at war. He looked down at his fox, still straining to follow his new family. "Go. It's okay." It wasn't, though. The pain scoured him hollow, left him without breath, like a kick to the heart. He pulled his hand away because Pax would feel a pain that deep and he wouldn't leave. "Go." Pax shot away toward the brush line. Then he turned back to look at his boy. Peter felt tears roll down his face, but he didn't wipe them away. Pax sprang back. He whimpered, licking at the tears. Peter pushed him down. He found the crutch and levered himself upright. "No, I don't want you to stay. I'll always leave the porch door open, but you have to go." Pax looked toward the brush and then back at his boy's face. Peter dug into his pocket and pulled out the toy. He lifted it. Pax raised his head, his eyes trained on Peter's hand, and Peter hurled the plastic soldier over the brush and into the woods, as far away as he could. Oh! And that's the end. Whew. That's good. That's super sad, but super sweet. Oh. So, they're not going to stay together, but it's okay. I kind of predicted this. Pax is a wild animal, so he's going to stay in the wild with Bristle and Runt. And Peter just told him, like, you need to stay here, and the back door will always be open. So you know that you can always come home. Oh man, that was a tearjerker. That was a good ending, sad but happy, and what a good book. Man, I'm so happy with this book. I'm so sad it's over, but I'm so happy that we read this book. Tell all your friends about it. Tell all your friends, hey, go read Pax. It's so good. But don't tell them how it ends. Or don't tell them anything. Oh man, okay. So I have our next book that will start tomorrow. It's a chapter book. It's in a series. It's short enough that we can finish it before the end of school. I will give you a hint. This is not, trust me, it's not going to be obvious. First hint, chocolate. Second hint, you know of the characters already. Third hint, next year. That's all I'm giving you. I will reveal it tomorrow. So if you're excited about starting our next book, come back tomorrow because we will start our new surprise book. And it's part of a series. So after this book, you can go out and get the other books to read over the summer. I'm very excited. I'm very sad. Our very precious book is over. Man, I loved this book so much. But on to the next. That's how great reading is. Reading gets you pumped up. And we're going to just keep reading. Starting tomorrow, we'll start a new book. I love you guys. Take care. Have a great rest of your Wednesday. Wash your hands, do your work, be nice to your parents, help around the house. Mwah! See you tomorrow.